So I see a lot of people buying Pokemon games online, and a lot of them turn out to be fake. So this is just to kind of help out a little bit. Out of these three, one of them is fake. Little twist, it's not this one. This is the original. One way to tell specifically for Emerald is these reflective little diamond shaped or triangle shaped little holographic stickers. And another main thing is that number print. Different copies of the game will have different numbers depending on the batch that it was from. And so that's the most obvious way when it comes to the label. A lot of the times these stickers do peel off and you won't have the label. For example, this is an authentic copy of Leaf Green, but the label's out. Just for comparison, I do have another one, and this is also authentic. This one, does it have a number? Yes, it does. It's right on the seal. Kind of hard to tell there, 4LA or something like that. And another thing on these Gen 4 games, which is going to be from Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, as well as Leaf Green and Fire Red. They all have this little recognizable square. I'm not sure what part of the motherboard that's for, but the authentic copies will all have that. This one is also authentic, just has some damage to the actual casing. And this is actually the fake one. It's also reflective, but it doesn't have those little shaped holographic things that we're having. This is just a holographic print. Pretty alright made, but this has a bunch of little dots. These are the most common copies you're going to come across when it comes to shopping online, stuff like eBay and stuff. The original copies do have a bunch of dots, but they obviously look different. And again, the dead giveaway is usually that square. That's a good one. And the reason why this one looks like this is not because it's European, but because this is a copy that didn't have the sticker, and I just bought a Reproduction sticker on eBay and I put it on it. But they're both good. And that's for Gen 4 games. Another comparison. Here we have an authentic Sapphire and a fake Sapphire. This one doesn't even try. The label's pretty awful. I think it does have some reflectiveness, but not much. Same situation with the dots. And this one has the square, but it's pretty rough to see actually. Maybe if we open it up, let's actually do that. And these screws need a tri-wing screw, which is basically, can't even focus it, but just as it looks there, it's basically 3 instead of your typical Phillips, which is 4 lines. Let me actually open this with both hands. Wait. So I'm back here, and there is that little square again that is easily recognizable when it comes to the Gen 4 games. Wait, I've been saying Gen 4 all this time, my bad. Gen 3, because first gen is red, then Gen 2 is silver gold, well, red, blue, and yellow if you count it, and then Gen 2 is silver, gold, and crystal. Then Gen 3 is where they made the port to the GBA, Game Boy Advance, and that's where they started getting these cartridges. And the first ones that came out were Ruby. Yes, quick. reference, Ruby and Sapphire. Then they came up with a more wholesome version of Emerald. And after that, these bad boys came out, which is basically a remake of Red and Blue. So, but going back to this. So these are the back of the motherboards. This is the authentic copy and this is the reproduction. One thing that I haven't noticed before is that this sticker is horribly easy to see in comparison to the authentic. That is not the case here. So that's one thing. And most of the times, people to prove their authentic cartridges may take a picture of the inside of the motherboard for the same reasons, because you can tell that it's well made. This is actually a battery I replaced because these games, specifically Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, are notorious for having their battery run dry, which is basically just a dead battery. So I got these on eBay for about maybe $5 for about 10. Pretty easy to replace. All you need is a soldering tool, some solder, and possibly some flux. You just replace the battery and it just helps with the timekeeping on the game, but you don't need it to save, it's fine. And this is the reproduction. So horrible little blob there on the battery. Same reason again that reproductions will never really take a picture of the inside of the game. If you take a picture, they'll just take a picture of this front or this back. Excuse me. But that's the quickest way to tell the difference between an authentic copy and a fake copy of these Game Boy Advance games. Now that I set them all back together, I'm gonna go ahead and just show one of the quickest differences between one of these. Let's start with this one, I guess. Take one. No, audio's done. And is disgustingly dry. Yeah, it boot up right, so let's. That probably just has to do with the way I put it in. But they usually work fine. Keyword usually. Let's go ahead and try that one more time. Actually, I need to screw this in a little bit more. It was a little bit loose on the screw in the back. This should be fine. Okay, so this one doesn't want to work. Check it out here, that's probably going to take some time. So just for quick reference, let me go ahead and put the fake emerald. We'll compare it to the real emerald. Didn't like the way that snapped. So it plays as usual because it actually is a ROM of the game. So kind of like when you have the game downloaded in your computer, it's an exact copy of the game, but it doesn't work as authentically like for stuff and trading and stuff. I have posted another video that sometimes it is possible to trade to real games, but it's going to corrupt pretty much the file on this one. So for example, if you trade from the fake one, you have, let's say, that Torchic. You get the Torchic in this game, you trade it to the other game will show up with the Torchic, but then when you turn off this game and turn it back on, the Torchic will still show up here. So it's kind of like, I guess, a cloning way, but it's an authentic Torchic. So I don't know, it's kind of complicated, but it can sometimes help. But that's usually the difference why a person would get a real game and not the fake one, because they want to be trading and they don't want to have any issues with their save files and stuff. So always better to go with the original. So this one says the save file will be loaded. On the original games, it will automatically just either say the battery has run dry, because the battery has run dry is a message that you get only on the authentic copies. As you saw, these fake ones have like a black blob, doesn't apply to it. but the fake ones will say the save file will be loaded. And plays like normal, saves fine. The reason I saved here is because I was just trying to get a good nature for the Pokemon. But that's the fake copy, which is this one. Again, this one's not fake, it was the original. It just didn't have a label, so I bought a cheap label, and obviously they couldn't do the same reflective thing. But whatever. And this is the original one. And you'll see the difference in a little bit. I'll skip this part. And after this, there should be no message. If you have an authentic copy and you haven't replaced the battery, you're going to get the internal battery has run dry, but otherwise it's going to show up as mine because I already replaced my battery. There you go. So this is actually just a selection. I actually don't even know what Pokemon I have here. I put that name because whenever it attacks, it just says his name just attacked, so it's funny. But outside of that, that's pretty much when it comes to these GBA games. I'll go ahead and try to work on something else for the DS games. All those are authentic except this obvious one. This is basically just an R4, which is kind of like a DS cartridge that you can modify with an SD card, and you can pretty much install whatever game you want into it. But yeah, and these are a few other of the fake ones that I have. The only reason I got a hold of these is because I wanted to get these cases. These cases are pretty nice. It's just a case. It's like a DS case with art. But I did have this separately. This is an authentic copy, but it's kind of old. And you pretty much just put like the cartridge, and these cartridges came inside of it, I believe. No, actually they came in a little clear box. Actually, let me show that real quick, because usually when you buy these fake copies, they probably come in those boxes too. So let me get that real quick. So yeah, they usually come inside of these boxes, and these are actually surprisingly a little bit tricky to open. I kind of already forgot about it, but whatever. So if you see a listing with one of these clear boxes and all 5 of the Pokemon games, which would be Fire Red, Leaf Green, Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, it's probably those bundles that you get for like 20-25 bucks on eBay. They're usually fake, but are they worth buying? I would say personally yes, because it's still great games. But I mean, depends. If you have a buddy that you want to play with, I would probably recommend getting the originals, even though they're pretty ridiculously high in prices. But if you just want to experience the games because nostalgia, or you've never tried them and you just want to get a feel for it, these bundles usually are pretty worth it, I would say. But that's personal opinion, and that's about it. So we'll do that later.